So, NaLyssa Smith. It's just always the case. But, like, NaLyssa Smith never helps herself with some of the things that she said.
Did NaLyssa Smith just throw the Indiana Fever under the bus in a shocking twist? The former Fever standout couldn't resist taking one final jab at her old team after being traded to Dallas.
I forgot to mention NaLyssa Smith is gone. If you're the Fever, how great do you feel about that? My goodness. Right, like final.
But here's where things get interesting while Smith paints herself as the victim and fires off a parting shot that has raised eyebrows across the league. The Fever might have just pulled off the heist of the century. Sophie Cunningham is on her way to Indy, and she's bringing much more than just her deadly three-point shot. Are you ready to dive into the drama and see why this trade could be a game changer for the Fever? Let's break it all down.
I got frustrated watching her play, and she represented, I think, the remnants of anything else that was wrong with the team, right? From the Christie Sides era and everything. And last year was a good year, all things considered. Wish her the best. But I actually think the Fever get great return here, considering I don't know where all these people think NaLyssa Smith's value was so high all of a sudden, given the way she played.
Remember when NaLyssa Smith burst onto the scene as the second overall pick in the 2020 WNBA draft? The Indiana Fever believed they had struck gold, landing a player who could reshape their franchise. But even the brightest stars can fade fast in this leg. Let's rewind to those early days. Smith showed flashes of brilliance, averaging a solid 13 points and 8 rebounds per game in her first 2 seasons. Fever fans were buzzing with excitement, convinced they had found their cornerstone player, but then came the 2024 season and something was off. It was as if she hit a wall and her game went into a downward spiral, leaving everyone puzzled. Picture this: Smith, once a defensive powerhouse, suddenly looking lost on the court. Easy layups that used to be automatic were now clanking off the rim. And don't even get me started on her free throws.
People in the fan base don't want her on the team.
By the end of the season, then head coach Christie Sides couldn't even trust Smith in crucial moments. The player who was supposed to be the Fever's go-to star was now riding the bench when the game was on the line. Talk about a dramatic fall from grace. Want some cold hard numbers? Smith's stats tell a brutal story. Her scoring plummeted to just 10.6 points per game, while her rebounds dipped to a career-low 7.1 per game. But it wasn't just the numbers. Her efficiency fell off a cliff. She was missing shots at an alarming rate, and her defense, let's just say opposing players were licking their chops when they saw her guarding them.
Goes to the wings, gets a fresh start. Hopefully that works out for her. Enrique Agumbawale has already welcomed NaLyssa Smith there. So that's part of this trade also. So you get these, a lot of moving parts here, because that's something a lot of people had anticipated and thought that the Fever were going to move on from Smith. And when Howard came in, it felt like, okay, Howard is taking her spot. And now Smith is no longer there to have a spot in the starting lineup or off the.
But that's not all. As Smith's struggles on the court mounted, so did the frustration from Fever fans. Social media was buzzing, but not in a good way. Smith found herself caught in controversies that only made things worse. It felt like everything that could go wrong for her did.
Ow! Oh, I'm sorry. You poked me in the eye.
You're an 8-year-old.
You did.
I did not poke you.
Did you do it on purpose?
I did not poke you in the eye.
You did it on purpose?
I got hit in the knee. That was my reflex.
It looked like you were just laughing.
Now let's address the elephant in the room: the Fever's new direction with Caitlin Clark's arrival, and the rise of Aliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull. Indiana was shifting toward a more dynamic, versatile style of play. Suddenly Smith, with her declining skills and questionable fit, looked like a square peg in a round hole. The Fever needed players who could shoot, defend multiple positions, and thrive in the fast-paced modern WNBA. Once seen as the future, Smith now seemed like a relic of the past. Her inability to adapt was painfully obvious, and it became clear that change was inevitable.
Don't see the point in calling out your ex-team. I really don't see the point in it, because I'm like, there might be a stage sometime where you might have to go back to the Chicago Sky, to the Indiana Fever. There could come a stage where it's like, you don't want to burn bridges, realistically. And by the way, this is not a shot There is no chance this is a shot, by the way, at any players. NaLyssa Smith got on really well with the players. That whole team was a really tight-knit group. It was a shot possibly at Christy Sides with what Christy Sides did, but also a shot at the new people coming in, because she was really excited for Stephanie White and she was excited with the way the Fever was going. The Fever had no intention. Like, we all knew from the start, she was protected to be traded.
In just 3 short years, NaLyssa Smith went from a potential franchise cornerstone to a player. The Fever were eager to move on from, but why it all comes down to the team's new winning formula. And let me tell you, it's a game changer with new head coach Stephanie White stepping in. The Fever are embracing a bold new vision that will flip the script entirely. We're talking about a fast-paced, versatile offense designed to leave opponents in the dust.
Obviously, it's a shot at the Fever as she's leaving, but it's like, you don't do that. Just make things easy for yourself. Just in general, NaLyssa, make things easy for yourself, because ironically, you're probably not going to start. Like, you were a starter at the Fever were replacing you as a starter. You're probably not going to start.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Smith's slow-footed game and poor shooting stuck out like a sore thumb in this new plan. The Fever needed players who could run the floor, shoot threes, and switch on defense faster than you can say bucket. And Smith, well, she just couldn't keep up. But that's not all. The front office didn't just dip their toes in the water with this new strategy. They dove in head first. They went all in, targeting players who could move to the same rhythm as Caitlin Clark. We're talking about a high-octane game that'll leave opponents gasping for air.
Let's look at her defense, where in Phoenix, her versatility was on full display. Capable of guarding 1 through 4 in the lineup, she would defend star point guards one game, then be a small ball 4 the next night. As the Fever look to improve defensively from a season ago, her style fits Stephanie White perfectly. Aggressive, in your face, and physical.
This new philosophy left no room for one-dimensional players like Smith. The Fever's new direction is all about versatility, teamwork, and adapting on the fly. Smith was still trying to play checkers while the rest of the team moved on to chess. Let's break it down. Last season, we saw the first signs of this revolution. The Fever cranked up their three-point attempts by a staggering 15%. That's not just a tweak, that's a full-blown transformation. They're not just keeping up with the trends, they're setting them. Now here's the million-dollar question. Can this new system turn a group of promising individuals into a cohesive, winning team, or will it be another case of potential unfulfilled, leaving us all wondering what could have been? The Fever are betting big that this is the formula for success, and they're not looking back.
Take out. I'm extremely excited for this opportunity. I promise you, Dallas, you won't regret this. That is fine. It's fine to just say that. Not to play for an organization that believes in me. Because they clearly don't. They clearly don't. Do you want to know why? Because I'm saying, like, other teams, there's a lot of teams that would be okay with you playing on the bench.
But wait, there's more. Enter Sophie Cunningham, the player who embodies everything the Fever wants. She's like the missing piece of the puzzle they've been searching for. Cunningham isn't just a player, she's a statement that says this is the new Indiana Fever and we're here to win. Think about it. Cunningham can shoot, she can defend, and she's tough as nails. She's the kind of player who makes everyone around her better in this new Fever system. She's not just a good fit, she's the perfect fit. It's like the basketball gods heard the Fever's prayers and sent them exactly what they needed.